What is up, everybody? Part two of the Steiger engine overhaul here. I got the engine all cleaned up, the block. I just took it outside, and these things make a mess, but as long as you have it outside, solvent blower. Just hosed her all down really good, cleaned up all the gasket material, surfaces, and I got all my new sleeves put in. They all checked out right in spec as far as the standout on the sleeve. Got all that done. Sometimes if you don't have the right standout, you gotta flip-flop sleeves to different holes, but every one of them was fine. Now I'm just switching new pistons and wrist pins onto the rods, tapping in new rod bolts. I like how this kit came, I guess you'd call it unloaded. So the rings aren't on the pistons, whereas like Deere's overhaul kits come loaded where the piston and the rings, the piston's sitting in the sleeve and the rings are already installed, so you just like tap the piston down enough to get the wrist pin into the rod. Well, you're holding faith in whoever put the thing together at the factory that the rings aren't all like in a line and it'll burn oil like crazy. So I prefer to put them on myself. That way I know that they're all good. So getting ready to start sticking pistons back in it, and I don't think there's any issues with the bearing clearances, but I've got some plastic gauge, so I'll check a couple of them, make sure they're in spec. I like to keep everything sorted out, and I count like all of my hardware and all that to make sure it's right, because one time in the past I did a complete out of frame overhaul on a tractor, a John Deere, and had it all back in the tractor ready to turn the key, and I was cleaning up my bench and I found one new snap ring for a wrist pin, and I sat there and pondered it forever because I knew I put them all in, but that was not my tractor, and I was not gonna take that roll of the dice risk, so I tore the whole freaking thing back apart. John Deere had put one extra snap ring in the overhaul kit, so lessons learned there. I'll get these pistons slapped in there and bring you back for something else. All right, got the first piston and rod in, plastic gauged it. It is hard to hold my phone and do this. It's like 0.076 millimeters. So there's the range, 0.033 to 0.117. So we're all good in the neighborhood. Slam her together. Well, all the sleeves and pistons are in. All the main bearings are in. Checked my crank end play. It's all good. The main bearings they pretty much look like brand new. And they're originals with 8,000 hours on them, but put new ones in it. My pile of empty boxes has grown, and my scrap iron pile. Now, get the head dug out of that crate. All new head bolts, exhaust manifold bolts, brand new set of Bosch injectors. Yeah. I'm going to clean the oil pan up and paint it. They forgot to, I either lost it or they forgot to give me an oil pan gasket. But one thing about this Maxi Force kit, and I'm really glad I made the phone call. There's no directions on the ring packets. You know, it says third, the oil ring, then second ring, and top ring. But the top two rings have a groove or a ridge cut on one side. In my experience in the past, the groove or the ridge would always go down. So I put the first piston together and put it in there with both of the ridges down on the top two rings, and I called and they said that they're working on putting instructions in there, and they get this call all the time, but I'm really glad I did, because the ridge goes down on the second ring and the ridge goes up on the top ring. They did that because they use different style rings than what the factory did, and they changed the way that top ring is to try to combat the oil consumption issues of these 8.3 Cummins. So luckily I only had to pop one piston back out, but if anybody's doing a rebuild on the 8.3 and use this Maxi Force kit, the rings just come, your oil ring says third ring, your second ring is in this little pouch, and your top ring is in here, but it doesn't tell anything about which way the taper is supposed to go, and it's down on two, up on one. All right, everybody, it's been a week since I've messed with this engine. Too many other projects going on, but I got the new cylinder head bolted on, torqued down. I figure finish off this video just putting some injectors back in. These are all brand new Bosch injectors. This is a new head, so it's all perfectly clean, but I still took a light and looked down on all the injector bores, because the slightest piece of dirt or garbage in there, in that injector, will not seal. I've been there and done that. One down there. I put a set of these in a Magnum years ago, and piece of dirt fell down in there when I was pushing one of the injectors in, and the minute I started the tractor, it was just leaking compression out around it, making a ticking noise. Yeah, that sucked. I had to take it all back apart. Remember to take the rubber cap off the end of the injectors too. No, me and Mrs. G have been spending most of our time working on that 4440 John Deere project, trying to get it wrapped up before I lose her help. She goes back to work in another week, and that's gonna suck for me because I've gotten used to her being out in the shop and helping every day this summer, and she's really good help. I just want to get this thing completely put back together and back in the tractor and make sure there's no leaks or no issues. I might actually, I talked to the service manager at my Case IH dealership, and might actually do a dyno day here on my equipment. I just have to go with my trailer and pick up their dyno, and then he'd send a tech over here for half a day or whatever, but that way can dyno this and break it in. And I would like to dyno the 7250 that I put the new motor in before spring, just to see where it's sitting for pump settings and everything else. And it'd be really cool to dyno this big old Alice too, but I don't know. I don't know if that'll be ready to be dynoed at that point or not. These injector bolts get torqued to 18 foot-pounds. As of right now, we've gotten a bunch of rain. We were super dry in June, but July the spigot turned on pretty much just like exactly like last year. I've got some tremendous looking corn. Beans, some of them look all right. They're kind of slow growing this year, but it's gonna take frickin' 300 bushel corn to pay the bills at the price that this crap is at right now. I love farming, but the amount of risk I take every year, the amount of money I have to borrow, it's getting pretty old. And then you have, unexpected things like your tractor blows up. Luckily, I am able to fix them myself, but that doesn't make it cheap. Everything costs a fortune. All these parts are ridiculous. Like, I looked at my receipt. This is one O-ring for the injection pump. It was like $32. It's all stupid, but I think I'll leave this video here. Next video, I just got to put the valve train back in it, set the valves, put the exhaust manifold on it. I'll probably, I know I will, give her the old psh, psh, with some engine paint. Yeah, next video should be dropping it back in there and firing it up for the first time. So thanks for watching, guys. Have a good weekend.